right, today's virtual classroom, we're going to talk about teaching our dogs how to use a scratch board, which is another way to work on doing nails. I've got Jocelyn with me here tonight. We're going to teach it in a couple of parts. But before we start, I actually want to show you what a scratch board is, what it looks like. I couldn't find, I usually have a little green one, but I couldn't find it, so I just made this one. So what a scratch board is, just a piece of wood. It's just a little piece of 1x scrap that I had. And you take that piece of wood and then you're going to glue sandpaper. So I have a rough grit on one side and then I have a smooth grit on the other. This is a 60 grit. And what we're going to work on teaching our dogs is actually to scratch on this. And by scratching on this, they will actually take their nails down. All right, so I have two. Let's say that you have a puppy, soft, small dog that has soft nails. Then you might want to use a smoother grit. With my guys, their nails tend to be pretty tough, so I would use a rougher grit. On my grinder, I use a dremel. When I do nails, my grinder, I want to say the grit is 80. This is actually a little bit coarser than that. This is a 60. And all I did was take some PL200, construction adhesive, liquid nails, and I just put that on the wood, and then I put a sheet of sandpaper on it. So this is, it's still drying too. So this is a scratch board. But the first thing before I can get my dog to scratch their own nails on this is I need to teach them a cue that means do this, right? So we're going to start with how do I teach that cue. For those of you that are looking for some tricks, this would be a dig cue. You could call it scratch or dig or whatever makes sense to you. But we're going to actually start out with teaching them how to use their feet and getting that action, right? I need to get that foot action of them scratching something prior to trying to present a board. And then I'll show you another way to teach this besides the trick portion. But for those of you who like tricks, we're going to start out with something super simple. This is just a towel. It's a cotton towel we use up here at the kennel. And what I'm going to do is get Joss's attention. I'm going to take some cookies in my hand, and I'm going to put the cookies on the ground, and I'm going to throw the towel over top of the cookies, and then I'm going to encourage Jocelyn to use her feet to try to get them. Now, two things. Many dogs are going to use their nose to push that towel. Initially, I don't discourage it. The first 1 or 2 attempts, I let them use their nose because I want them to be interested and engaged and actually enjoying the learning. So I don't care if they initially use their nose. But once they've done that a couple of times, they're engaged, they're trying to get to the cookie, and they successfully have gotten to the cookie, then I want to discourage the nose pushing. And the simple way to do that is just to step on the towel so the nose doesn't get success, right? It's less successful, which usually will get them to start to think about trying their feet. And then once I start to get some scratching on this, I'm going to mark and reinforce on top of the towel versus lifting it up. So I want to, my initial criteria is get the cookie any way that we want to. Let's see if I can stay. Can you lie down? Okay, stay. So initially I'm just going to get them excited. I want them to, they can use their whatever to get to the cookie under the towel. Then after a couple repetitions, I'm not going to let them use their nose. I'm going to just step on that area so they can't flip the towel up, and I'm going to wait for them to decide to use their feet. When they start to use their feet, that's what I'm going to mark and reinforce. I'm going to mark and reinforce, excuse me. Lie down. Thank you, stay. I'm going to mark the action. She's like, you've got the cookies in my hand. This is my baby dog, by the way. Yeah, it's a good girl. Now, can you sit, please? Can you lie down, please? And I'd like you to stay. Thank you. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I want to make sure I have a fistful of, I'm using her dinner for this, so I have a fistful of kibble. And, oops, sweetie. Get it, girlfriend. And I'm going to put her over here in a sit just so I can put it down. You can, I have a collar on her so I can demo this. I could hold her collar while I put the food down if you don't have a good stay. But it's actually a nice proofing exercise to work on. You just sit, stay. So, I'm going to take a couple pieces of kibble, stay, put it on the ground, and then I'm going to cover it, stay, with a towel. Break. gonna let her figure out how to get those cookies. Now, if she uses her nose, it's okay, I'm gonna let her do it. Did you get them? Good for you, yay! I want her engaged, okay? Good girl, let's do that again. Good. If I get too fussy when I'm working on shaping a behavior, what I'm gonna do is get a dog that disengages instead. So I'm gonna put a couple cookies back on the ground. Good girl. And I'm keeping this half size, just because it's easier. Put it back over. Break, get the cookies. Good girl. I'm gonna let her figure this out. It's a nice little puzzle game for her. Where are those cookies? There they are. You got them. Good. You notice I'm not marking and reinforcing anything because I don't want to encourage the nose pushing. So this time, I'm going to change up what I'm doing. So she's engaged. She wants those cookies. Sit. I'm going to put those cookies underneath again. Sit. Stay. Good. But this time, when she goes to move it with her nose, I'm going to step on that section so that doesn't work. I'm going to encourage her to use a different way to get to those cookies. Break. Get them. Get. Good girl. Get those cookies. Get them. So I'm simply just going to step here so that doesn't work. Get them, get them, get them. And I'm going to encourage her to try to figure some other way to do it. All right? Good. First scratch that I get, I'm going to mark and reinforce. Get it. Good. Good girl. Good. Each time she scratches, I'm going to mark that. Good girl. Cheer McGee. Got the cookies. Yay! Good for you. So I'm going to bring her back over and we're going to do it again. Sit. Wait. I got my cookies. Towel. Wait. I want to make sure I'm loaded so I'm ready if she starts to scratch. Break. Get those cookies. Get them, get them, get them. And I'm just putting my foot there so that she goes to push it with her nose. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? You get them. Get them, get them, get them, get them, get them. She's going to try with her nose. I'm just going to step on it so that's not successful. Get them, girlfriend. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. And I'm encouraging her. Go ahead, get them. Get them. Yay. Get those cookies. Good girl. Nice. Good job. So each time she scratches, I'm going to click and treat. Good girl. Good, 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 good. Get him. Good. Good, good, good. I'm going to keep her. Now she wants to go back in with her nose. I'm going to keep going with her feet. Good girl. And then while she's doing that action, I'm going to start to name it. Yay! Get those cookies. All right? I'm going to reset. Come here, kiddo. Sit. Wait. All right. So now I'm not going to put the cookies underneath. I'm going to see if she'll start to give me that behavior just with encouragement. I'm going to start to call it something. So I'm going to name the action. Jocelyn, sit. Wait. All right, so I'm going to put these down. Wait. Break. Get it. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. So I'm looking for that. Scratch. I'm going to start to name it. Ready? Get it, scratch. Good. Now I'm getting more than one. Good girl. She starts to nose, comes underneath, and it's going to step on that. Get it. I know. Get it. You get that. There you go. Get it. Yay. Good girl. Good girl. Go ahead. Get that. Scratch. Good. All right. So now she's starting to get the action of this. Yay. Good girl. Now that she's beginning to get that action, I'm going to actually start to just use the cues. So I'm going to see if she puts that piece together. Normally I would work this a little short, 2-3 minutes, and I would wait till I was really getting a strong scratching behavior before I actually named it and started to cue it. But I want to kind of bridge this, and I think I can probably, with a little encouragement, get her to actually do the behavior on cue. Wait. Okay. Scratch. So she's showing me known behaviors. I'm not going to pay for that. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, get it. Good girl. Get it. Get it. Scratch. Now she gets stuck. She's stuck in a down behavior. We were playing with tricks before, so she's giving me a head down. Get it. Scratch. You scratch it. Yeah, that's it. You can see her thinking. Good girl. Ready? She gets stuck in nose hunting, so you don't want to do more than 1 or 2 reps. Scratch. Nice. Jossie, scratch. Good. So you can see she's beginning to put that piece together. All right, once you're getting strong scratching behavior, you can start to, yeah, scratch, scratch, scratch. That's not down. Up. You scratch. She's like, no, we were doing tricks. Break. So just reset, just take her off, bring her back in, and tell her scratch, scratch. Nice. Okay? So once you have understanding, you get a good, strong scratching behavior, then you can think about transferring that skill, that cue. Good girl. Sit. Jossie. That's it down. Good girl. Hey. Sit. Good girl. All right. Then the next place you would go with that is you put the board on the ground and ask for a scratch behavior. Yeah, I saw you break that step. Scratch. Scratch. All right. So she's thinking of this as a target. So she's targeting and she's throwing no behaviors for me. All right. So I don't have enough history with her on the cue for scratch to get her to be quite successful yet. I could go back to how I did it with a towel. I can put this underneath, break, and I can put a piece of kibble underneath that. All right, scratch. She still thinks it's a target. Scratch. Where's Cookie? Scratch. She's like, this makes no sense to me, Mom. Sit. Up. Up. Yeah, no, it's under here. So she didn't see that this was under. There it is. Good girl. Now let's see if she'll get a scratch. All right, go ahead, get it. Get it. She's going to try to move the board, so her foot's on the board. Get it. Good girl. Come on, get it. Get it. Scratch. Try something else. Come on. She says no, and that's okay. Scratch. Beautiful work, sweet pig. She says, this is a foot target, Mom. I don't understand. So don't be afraid to change gears if you get stuck with something. It's perfectly fine. It's 100% okay. Come here, sweetheart. I'm going to get you that cookie. So I'm going to give this to her, and I'm going to show you another way that you can work on this using a known behavior. Let me just reload. All right, I'm going to show you the behaviors that she knows first. So if my dog understands shapes, yes. So if my dog understands a shape behavior, has a foot behavior, she also has this leg, yes. Good girl. This leg, yes. Good girl. So she knows a foot target, yes. Good girl. Nice. Great. So since she has that, I can use that simply by changing the placement of the scratch board, and I can use this to my advantage, okay? So she knows that behavior. I'm going to present the scratch board to her, and I'm going to cue that same behavior and see if I get a scratch board. All right, ready? Sit. Shake. Come on, shake. Good. Now, it's a light scratch. Perfectly fine. We're shaping something. We're working on doing what we want. Sit. Scratch. Scratch it. All right, I want a little motion with this. Scratch. Good. And I can start to shape it from here. And how about the other one? Sit. Good. Good. That's the one. Good girl. Good. Good. Okay, so this is another way that you could work this. The only difficulty, if we work it this way, is how do I do the back feet? All right. For a lot of, for many dogs, the wear on their feet can be different. So it's a matter of kind of taking a look and finding out what works for you. But you can also teach a back foot scratch. All right, but we're not going to do that tonight. We're just going to work on the front. So let's see if I can get this. You scratch that. There's nothing in that hand. No. I want to scratch. Come on. Sit. That's it. Scratch. Good. Good girl. favorite way to work it is to actually use the towel, get them really strong on using those front feet and getting the scratch cue itself where you're getting 4, 5, 6 scratches fast. Scratch, 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 scratch. Putting that on cue and then transitioning to the board. If your dog is this way about touching the board, you might have to do a little desensitization. So this is teaching your dog to do their own nails. This is a scratch board. And this would work on your front feet. You'll still have to do your own back feet at this point. But maybe, depending on how long this crisis goes, we can always talk about actually teaching back foot targets, which is kind of an advanced skill. And then actually teaching the back scratch with those, which is, I'll have to pull Diane Thompson in, her border collie does that naturally. Okay. Okay, this is a wireless, this is a dremel. Off, please, off, sit, stay. So this is a dremel, it's a pet dremel. It has options on it. You have high or low. The low is quieter. And then the higher has a little more high-pitched noise. So for some dogs, the noise itself, good girl, can be a problem. So you might want to start initially just getting them used to the noise. And the way you would do that is you're going to turn the thing on and then feed the dog. All right, turn it on, feed the dog. Turn it off. I want the noise of the dremel to predict something good. So I got some good feelings going prior to trying to actually work on their feet and nails. So I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to feed the dog. Good. This is just a simple contingency. It's part of what desensitization and counter conditioning can be about. Now, if I had a dog, excuse me. Good. If I had a dog that was really afraid of the noise, I can dampen that noise and simply put a towel on it, right? I could put the towel and start where it was really quiet if I needed to do that, okay? So you can definitely work on the noise and the sound first. The other thing that can be difficult when you're first working with these is it causes a vibration, and the vibration itself, probably need to work on this dremel. Anyway, the vibration itself can be something that makes them freaked out. So don't worry necessarily about getting this right on the dog's nail immediately. Get them used to the sound, that it predicts goodies. I turn it on, I feed the dog. Sit, thank you. Good. I'm going to work on, I'm going to pick up her foot, I'm going to let her see it. You notice I present the end to her. I want her to see the thing, I want her to know what it is, let her explore if she wants it. Good girl. I'm going to reinforce her for interactions or curiosity with it. So we want it just to become predictive. So it's a contingency. All right, yay. Oh yes, look at that paw. How good are you? Excellent, good girl. Then I can cue paw behavior, or I can lift that paw up, and I'm going to work on just touching. Good girl. Good job. Let me see that paw. Good. Yay, good. Now, if she were pulling her foot away, I wouldn't grab and hold the foot and make her do it. I would work up to her comfort level. So I'm going to start where the dog is. I did this with her when she was a puppy. You can see she's relatively comfortable with it. Does that mean she likes getting her nails done? No, but she's very tolerant of it, and she's not terrified of it either. All right, so I have the foot. If I bring this in and my dog's like, ah, you know, I'm going to work probably here, or maybe I'll start here. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I know. Nail time, yeah. Good girl. Good, so I want to see her become more and more comfortable. So desensitize your dog to it. If they don't have any experience, you don't have to counter condition anything, but if you have a rescue, they may have had poor experiences in the past. Yay. Yeah, good girl. So you want to work on that part first. Then, now if you have a long-coated dog, like a golden, one of the things I want you to be careful of is if you're not staying up here, first of all, trim their feet out. You know, get in there, pull all this stuff out. She needs a grooming. Trim this stuff back so you're not going to get the grinder itself caught in their coat. When I was first learning to use a grinder, somebody said something to me while I was doing this, and I went this way, and I got my dogs, the feathering on the back of their leg actually caught in the grinder. Also, put your hair back if you have long hair. Because if there's a noise, something happens, and you turn it, you can get your hair caught in these. It's a real pain in the neck when it's stuck to your head. Okay. All right, girlfriend, so I have a foot, I have a dog. I want to stabilize the nail. So I have my thumb here, so it stabilizes her nail. I know you can't really see that, but her nail is nice and stable. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to just gently go over the nail. All right, that's where I would start, just one nail. And I would do maybe one nail, that's it for that day. I would bring the grinder out, turn it on, and use part of my dog's dinner to get them excited about the sound of the sound of the dremel predicts good things. You can do that just simply by picking the grinder up, turning it on, and then feeding the dog. All right, remember contingency. The food, the special stuff, the cool things happen whenever I hear that noise, and you're just pairing those two things together. Good girl, come here. Good. Sit. All right, so I want to randomly do that. Have a seat. And she says, I want to do stuff. All right, I'm going to turn that noise on, and I'm going to feed the dog, and I'm going to make sure I do that. Sit. Sit. No, okay, you don't have to sit. All right, my dog is here. She's comfortable. I've stabilized that nail. I'm going to go to the second nail, and this time I'm going to go over it once or twice. Okay? While I'm here. Good. Nice work. Okay? So I just did 2 to 3 passes on each nail, and that's all I would do in that session. If you stay with the grinder on it for too long, and you're working on that nail for a while, although this doesn't cut and pinch the nerve like the standard clippers do, it does get hot, and as you get closer to the quick, that vein that's in the nail, right? The blood vessel that you have in the nail. I got that right, Tara. Vein? Or it's a vein. As you get closer to the blood vessel, it gets more sensitive. And if you stay on that nail and you're grinding because you're trying to take a nail that's this long down to here in one session, it's going to get hot, which is going to hurt. And then you're going to get your dog pulling it away. So 2 or 3 passes. If your dog's nails are long, then just do 2 or 3 passes for a week until you get your nails down. I know I got some groomers out there. Usually we go, if you're clipping, the blood vessel pulls back as the end of the nail gets closer to the blood vessel, and that takes a little time. I don't remember off the top of my head if it's 24 or 48 hours. So if you get too close, you want to give the dog a couple of days before you come back in and work that nail back, okay? All right, guys, that's our virtual class for today. A little grooming, how to teach your dog to dig, for those of you who are working on some tricks. So that's the beginning of a digging trick. And putting dig on cue, but you can also use it as a scratch. Put the scratch cue on it, and then you can make your own scratch board. If there's anybody who wasn't here in the very beginning of this, I talked a little bit about the scratch board. This is just a little piece of scrap wood that I have. It could be any size. And all I did was I did a coarse sandpaper on one side. This is a 60, and then I did a less coarse. This is 100 on this side. So I have 2 different ones. Little dogs, puppies, softer nails. Big dogs, harder nails for this. And I just use liquid nails, PL200, to put the sandpaper onto the board itself. So you're going to transfer the digging in the towel onto the board with your cue once you have that. Take the time to put the cue, strengthen the cue. When you go back in and you watch this exercise, trying to push her through 4 or 5 steps of getting that scratch on cue made it harder for her to really understand what she was supposed to do with the scratch board. So then we shifted. I put her in a sit, and I just put my hand out to give me a paw. Her foot hit this, scratched down, and I just clicked and reinforced that. You could start with that also. You could work it that way, but you want to work up so you're getting multiple scratches before you get the click. So you're going to click, scratch, click, reinforce, scratch, click, reinforce, and then get 2 scratches, click, reinforce, and do it over a period of days so the behavior is stronger. And then it'll actually be an effective tool for you. All right, guys, I'm going to end on that. Have a wonderful Saturday night, and I hope everyone stays safe and stays healthy. Reminder, if anyone does have friends or family that run into a problem and need help with the care of her dog, please feel free to let them know to reach out to us. Our daycare is open. and the boarding is open as well. So if you guys, if the community needs it, we're here to help. And we do have the Department of Ag protocols in place, so it's curbside drop-off. No humans besides staff are in the building. So I want to keep my staff safe. It's important as well as everybody else, okay? All right, guys, thanks again. Have a great night.